What's up, everybody? We're going to be getting going here in just a moment. Did Bitcoin bottom? Did we see the bottom of that range? Are we about to have a massive bounce in Bitcoin and all these altcoins? Are we in for that bull rise that we've been looking for, or are we just still chopping sideways? Well, we got some signals we got to go over here in just a moment. So everybody drop something you're grateful for in the live chat. Let's get this going positively. I'm thankful for each and every one of you. I'm thankful for our community. And hey, I'm thankful I am in before the majority of the world. We are here. Let's go. What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Trying to find my mouse. There it is. I hope you're all having an absolutely wonderful day. I hope you're feeling good. I hope you're looking good. I hope your portfolio is starting to see a little bit of a bounce in it. I know my altcoin portfolio started to see a bit of a gain against Bitcoin, meaning it was growing in its value as denominated in Bitcoin, which is kind of what we want to see, right? We're tired of seeing these diminished profits in our portfolios, but hey, we're seeing some signs of a reversal. We're seeing some beautiful things in the charts that could indicate that the bottom has been put in, that we may be getting that bounce. But the question is, how can we make sure that we're seeing a bounce and not an actual reversal bounce, not just a bounce into a bull trap? That's what we're trying to identify right now. That's what we're gonna be doing. Everybody drop a 1 in chat if you're feeling grateful today. Drop a 2 in chat if you're ready to ride this bull wave to the upside. Drop a 3 in chat if you think this is just a bull trap and we're going back down. I'm curious to see what you guys got in this live chat as we get going. We got a small handful of you here as the show's getting started. All of you are the true absolute OGs, the community members here in BitLab. I love you all. I appreciate you. We got to talk about what's going on here. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ding the bell. Let's look at what we got going on right now, because what's happening is those levels are getting hit that we talked about almost exactly yesterday. This is what we're seeing. Alexandra G says 52K. You're thinking we're dropping to 52K. Hey, maybe we do. Maybe we do drop down here. Why are you saying 52K? Maybe because this mark right here, option J, give us a line right in that level. That's where that level would be if we were to drop there. But looking at what's going on here, let's look at the BLX, which is a Bitcoin Liquid Index. This is an aggregate of all of the Bitcoin. Oh, 52K subs. Yeah, we hit 52K subs. Shout out to everybody out there, all of you that have been here from the start, and all of you that are new here as well. Big love to each and every one of you. Let's look at this on the weekly chart. What does this look like? Holy moly. And people are bearish. This is what, I mean, look at this move right here. Boom. From this to the top, we almost hit that to the dot. And now if we were to measure that out again, option T for trend line, measure this out, this would suggest, if we were going to play this out again, this would suggest a price target up here in 130,000 level. Do you think we're going to be hitting $130,000 in this bull cycle? And if you do, throw a 1. If you do think we're going to hit 130,000 by the end of this year, drop a 2 in chat. Where do you think, do you think we're going to push up? There's a lot of speculation that we push up into that 90 to 100,000 region and have a pretty big sell-off, maybe potentially even coming all the way back to this $74,000, $75,000 region before we continue up. So we have to track this day by day. We have to keep our mind right. We have to be unbiased as to what is happening in this market. But as we're looking at this, zoomed in, we're here on the weekly chart. If we look, let's go ahead and delete. Let's actually go just like this, reload the indicators. Oh, it's because we're on the BLX. We can actually look, let's look at it right here. So as it stands right now, positive money flow, we're seeing a little bit of a decline in the RSI, which actually can be a wonderful bullish setup. This might feel bad because the strength is going down, but what we're allowing here, just like it did here, see the RSI trending, the purple line we're looking at, trending down with these highs until it reset down here at about 35%. And then we got this massive move to the upside. As it stands right now, similarly, we're seeing the RSI also trend down, and we're coming down right now about 43%, 41%. Maybe we have a little bit more to go. Maybe we find a bit of a bottom here. We're going to have to track this on a daily basis. But when we're looking at this, for instance, on the daily, I want you to notice something. We had these levels marked out to the downside. And this level, which basically marks, if we drag this across, it marks where this bounced. It marks where this bounced, this bounced, this bounced on the top of it. And look where these candle closed yesterday. The candle closed. Let's look up here. OHLC. That's open, high, low, close. Of each candle your mouse is over. So if we're looking at there right now, the close was 60,263, I think it says, dollars. That would suggest, not only suggest, that would identify that the price, the bulls defended this area back for the daily close to be above $60,000. That is wonderful. That's actually massive. What's even more beautiful here is that the BitLab trading stack, our indicator series here that we use on a daily basis, has this order block that has been set over here, this green box. If you can see here, I can turn it on and off. This is where there's a lot of liquidity interest defending this area. The wick dipped right down into the zone, which is basically in the low 58,000s. And the bulls ate this back up, getting that daily candle close right in here. Now, we're sitting here at a little bit of a precarious situation. This precarious situation being that we did break down. We did break down from this falling wedge. Bit of a bear trap, if you ask me, so far. But it's all going to hinge right here with where we are at right now on this TA based on price action patterns. Falling wedges tend to break bullish. However, sometimes they wash people out. Sometimes they absolutely wreck people because you're expecting this has to break bullish. So what does this do? It breaks bearish, creating that bear trap. And if we do get rejected here and come down and lose, I would say with the daily candle closure below this level, basically under $60,000, then this would signal that we may be working our way down to that next level down here at 52.3. As it stands right now, we don't have that yet. As it stands right now, we still have this pattern basically just in this parallel channel range, slightly trending to the downside, still holding within it. There's nothing yet to really freak us out. So when we come over to the coin market cap site, we can see we are under $2.3 trillion. And we saw quite a bit of pullbacks yesterday, but since these have rebounded, Mint Layer up 30%, PAL up 20%, OPSEC up 18%, Arweave up 15%, Aave up 15%, Fetch coming into that ASI merger up over 15%, Singularity also 14%, Matrix AI, a lot of the AI plays showing a lot of strength coming into this bounce. Stacks also up 12%. We're seeing quite a bit of bounces here in the market, and the altcoin market is feeling pretty good. It's so good, in fact, if we look at this chart right here from Milky Bull, we may have just hit a bottom when we're considering what's going on with altcoins. Why is this? Well, we could see this sort of move to the downside corresponding with the RSI moving aggressively to the downside into this sort of bounce line zone into that oversold territory, only to ferociously move back to the upside. Are we seeing that again right now? This is a total market cap. So this isn't just altcoins. This is looking here. We're seeing so this is a total market cap excluding the top 10. So this is everything. When we're looking at this right here, let's go to just coinmarketcap.com, not on a watch list, excluding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is looking at everything from here down, all these market caps. We can see that potentially we may be setting up for something. Now, when we're looking at this chart right here, this is another altcoin market chart looking at the charts from Mustache, L_crypto_prof, L crypto prof. Altcoins are backtesting a previous, backtesting a breakout from almost 2-year accumulation ranges. And people are bearish right now. In 2016 and 2020, the altcoin bull market only started after this retest. Is this time different? This is what we're looking at. This accumulation rounding bottom, breakout, retest, launch. Accumulation rounding bottom. This last cycle, breakout, retest, launch. Accumulation rounding bottom, breakout, retest. Are we going to get that launch next? Are we going to get further move to the downside? Well, all we can do is look to what's happened historically, but then also weigh it against the context of the markets today. And so I'm still leaning quite bullish right now. I looked down just to notice it was live. Strange. After watching this for 10 minutes, I looked down to notice, yeah, it's live, baby. You're watching live. We are live right now. So shout out to everybody that's here. All you folks showing up early to the stream. I love you. I appreciate you. Big love to every single one of you. Thank you for all that you do, Orly. I appreciate you. Now looking, we got some things to cover today. Let's continue on. A lot of bullishness coming in. U.S. Congressman Matt Gaetz introduced a bill to allow federal income tax to be paid with Bitcoin. This would be one of the most legitimizing things that could happen in the U.S. right now, barring them actually announcing Bitcoin as a legal tender in the U.S. This is legitimizing it as a form of currency to pay one of the most governmental duties that we have, which is federal income tax. So this would be massive if this passed. Similarly, we can also see right here, Latin America, it's not just the US that's involved in crypto. Latin America digital bank Nubank, and I'm going to tell you why this is important in just a moment. Nubank is integrating the Bitcoin Lightning Network for its 100 million customers. Now, why is Nubank important? Who owns shares in Nubank? I believe I did this. Boom, 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 boom. Berkshire invested in Nubank before and during its IPO in 21. So who's one of the majority owners of Berkshire Hathaway? Majority, just remember, owner Berkshire, none other than Warren Buffett. So although Warren Buffett has proclaimed his disdain and, or lack of knowledge in some ways for Bitcoin, on the outside, his investment in Berkshire, which he has a controlling interest in, just with how much he owns, and also just psychologically with, his provenance in the market, he owns a good portion of Nubank. And Nubank is doing what? They are now integrating, where's it at? Integrating a Lightning Network for its 100 million customers. Nubank is a Bitcoin, in some ways, a Bitcoin-facing bank. So by owning Nubank, he's gotten basically some sort of analog exposure to Bitcoin without actually having to go and physically buy Bitcoin. This is incredibly bullish to see things like this. And also, another huge access point. This isn't even considering the fact that if we look at the Strike, let's look at this news that just came out with Strike. If it will load here, right here, just in Bitcoin Lightning payments, app Strike launches to millions across the UK. So we're seeing a lot of broad access that's being basically adopted into what's happening in the Bitcoin ecosystem globally with basically customer-facing services that are related to the Bitcoin and crypto ecosystem. Now, MicroStrategy also, everybody's wondering when's a good time to buy. Let's look at the analog. Let's look at the data points or when MicroStrategy bought. Bought at a low. Awesome. Smart. Bought here in the middle of a bull trend. Bought here on a dip. Man, they're buying dips, right? Well, then look at this. Bought a dip, bought a top, bought near a top, bought on the way down, bought near not quite the bottom of this move right here, bought near the top of this move up, what you can see here is there's no correlation with buying a dip or buying a top. They're just buying any times they can get their hands on capital to deploy it in this market. And if people started realizing you don't need to have the best buy in every buy that you do, you don't need to be a perfect trader. In fact, MicroStrategy is not trading Bitcoin whatsoever. They are buying every step of the way. And they started, when they initially started buying back in 2020, very quickly they ended up very underwater, only to now have their company go from a $500 million market cap to in the billions. What is micro cap of MSTR? Let's look at this. MicroStrategy market cap, $26.38 billion. And only not too long ago, where's that chart we're looking at? Not too long ago, when they first started buying, they started with a company that was essentially, Michael Saylor was planning to potentially even retire because he'd kind of done what he could do with MicroStrategy. They weren't growing, but then they decided to move their entire treasury to Bitcoin. And they've done so well with this, even having to endure when they were a little bit underwater. I think that at some point in the next 10 years, they will probably be on that world's top 10, maybe even top 5, maybe even top market cap company, largest valued company out there, because of how much Bitcoin that they've been buying along the way. We are still so early, everybody. Let this be a lesson to us all. If you have a long-term time horizon, you have patience, there is no bad buy point for Bitcoin. Now, when we're looking further into this, we can also see we have some more bullish news coming in. VanEck just filed for one of the forms they needed for the spot ETF, which is just part of the process. Why is this important? It should be noted that they filed their 8A, which is the same form they just filed for the Ethereum spot ETF, exactly 7 days before Bitcoin spot ETF launch. And now we are basically 7 days before the Ethereum spot ETF launch. Good sign for our July 2nd over under 7 days from now. But again, anything goes. We'll have to adjust accordingly if things change. Because when we're looking at the Bitcoin markets and we're looking at where we're at right now, and everybody's so worried, and I remind you, looking at the weekly chart, welcome to everybody that just tuned in. We got 150 people just popped in here. Shout out. Everybody hit that like button. Let's get some records on the like button today. We have such bullishness here. Bull trend, bull flag right here to the breakout, to the target. Macro midterm bull flag here. The target out of this is $130,000. The question isn't if, the question is when. Will it be by the end of the year? Will it be sometime next year? Will we go beyond this into the 200, 230? We will have to see, but all signs are bullish right now, even with the potential washout down to $52,000, which is where this next level is below us. But I'm not considering that until we take out the lows of this parallel channel range that we're in right now. And we have all this bullishness that we just talked about. New access for strike payments in UK. We've got the total market cap, excluding the top 10, showing that it's signs of, for all these altcoins, has bottomed and may be getting this next leg like we saw back here in 2021. We also saw this total market cap here showing, this is excluding Bitcoin, showing this large accumulation range with the retest here, just like 2 previous cycles. Is that next leg coming very quickly? Matt Gaetz introducing a bill for taxes to be paid in Bitcoin. We see Nubank, which is a bank that has a big investment from Berkshire Hathaway. Berkshire Hathaway owned by none other than Warren Buffett. Basically also enacting lightning payment for its 100 million users. We're seeing nothing but bullishness right now, despite a little bit of a pullback. And may I remind you, Bitcoin has the same number of users as the internet had in 1999. This is where we're at right now. This is what we're looking at right here, this just exponential growth rate. And when you have exponential adoption of something, demand only goes up. And when you have demand going up exponentially on an asset, on a commodity that has a limited supply and it's shrinking as we speak, especially as we've seen so many lost Bitcoins. If you're not bullish, I don't know what you are. You must be blind. But I'm here to give you the news about what's going on. We also see that we had almost $1 billion worth of Bitcoin bought from Gemini yesterday. Whales don't typically buy at market cycle tops. And just a reminder, don't let Bitcoin's consolidate, just chopping. We could see where this is coming down into this zone, come down into this short-term holder cost basis, this purple line, this pinkish line I've been talking about for over a year on this channel. Look at this deviation, scared a lot of people, but we held and it was an incredible buying point. Look at this when we dipped to it, incredible buying point. Look at this when we dipped to it, we still had another strong move up, and we're just challenging that again. We're still not, we still have quite a bit of ways to, if we were to lose that, to still be testing the 200-day moving average. I'm a bull. Are you not bullish right now? Super chat from GD. Political meme coins will be big. FJB, all on AI on Solana. Maybe, we've seen a lot of oscillations with the capital flowing into meme coins. I have a speculation that there's going to be a pretty big move to meme coins on Base because of a little bit of the degeneracy that we've seen on the Solana meme coin space and the rugs that have been out there. So, I do think I'm kind of keeping my eye on it. I'm not a big meme coin guy. I do hold 2 meme coins. Duke is one of them, Shubaduki. And I like watching meme coins that were launched through the Omni platform, because that means if they're launched there, it was a fair value launch, meaning that there's not a huge amount of token supply that's being held, that could be potentially dumped on the market. And so that's what I'm liking to watch there. But let's see, my meme coin is on base and about to rip. Shout out to Ethan Smith for launching on base, and shout out to that. Now, coming back over here, we can also see Federal Reserve has allegedly been hacked. So we're just going to keep a pulse on this. But I think what's more exciting today, rather than all the news, you see it a lot of places, we need to look at some levels. We need to talk about some charts. We need to talk about what's going on in the market. And before we do that, make sure you're giving my profile on Twitter a follow. I want to make sure you guys don't follow any scam accounts. My information is right there at Kelly Kellum, KELLY KELLAM. Make sure you're not following any of those scam accounts. And then, of course, BitLab Academy here at Academy BitLab. Now, what's going on here? Well, as we talked about here last week, June 5th, which was right here, I posted on June 5th, which essentially was the top of this range. I said, let's watch for a pullback, because I saw the open interest rising. The open interest was rising as the aggregated premium for longs, meaning more people were going long because this is going up. And we did. We got that move to the downside. We hit the first target 65, then the next target 63. And now what's happened is, as this has basically been dropping, we've been seeing the aggregated premium for shorts showing basically this is going negative, meaning a lot of people were shorting, and we got huge movements to the downside, thus flushing out all of this. Let's move this over. Flushing out the liquidity, flushing out the not much liquidity there, but then boom, clearing this liquidity. I want you to notice what has shifted here is more color here, less color here, right? There's a lot just interspersed, but a huge liquidity pool. Price moved towards it. Boom. Okay. Not done yet. The market wanted a little bit more movement. Pushed down, and as this is happening, people keep going long because they want to catch the bottom, and then we start getting all this liquidity put down below us. Cleared it. Now look at this giant gap below us. With where's the nearest liquidity? Directly above us here at the why is my thing not? I can't. I gotta reload it. Oh no, my screen is locked up. Well, let's go off that screen while that is sitting there locked. I don't know what's going on. You buy a brand new damn computer, best thing on the market, and your shit still locks up. What the hell's going on with technology? What grinds my gears? But what we're seeing right now is just like we saw with Checkmate. This is chop solidation, as Dr. Jeff Ross calls it, who we've had on the channel. Basically the bull crab market. We are still very firmly in a bullish trend, very firmly in a bullish trend. And along with this bullish trend, what we have is these rise, retrace continuations. And as this is happening, people, they get so emotionally attached to every movement that they end up just chopping themselves out of this market and losing. And then they have the audacity to say, oh, Bitcoin's a scam. No, it's a market manipulation. The market's going to do what it's going to do in every market. You know what I mean? It's like you have to have your strategy in place. You have to have what your time horizon is in place. I don't know why this is still freaking locked. God damn it. Okay, force quit. Okay. I hope you guys can still see me. I should still be live. I just force quit my Google Chrome, but it's all good. We're going to load that back up. We're going to get right back into these charts because we have some magic to be sharing here. Bringing it back up. Here we go. Question is for all of you. Have you guys been selling? Have you guys been, if you have time, can you look at COTI? Yeah, you know what, Doc Williams? We have not looked at COTI in quite some time. So we will look at some COTI here in a little bit. So shout out to you. And Jennifer messaged me last night. She said I destroyed her name. So I'm going to try and say it correctly. Jennifer Hirado. Is that correct? I hope it is. I apologize if I'm butchering your name. Let's going to restore these pages. They are restored. Let's bring them back up. This is where we're at. Boom. Let's see if it actually worked. There it is. back in charge, back on top. Okay, so what we're seeing here is that what I was saying was clearing out this liquidity. Now we still have a little bit of a node below us down here, roughly at the $62,000 range. Actually, no, it's not 62. What is it? That would be looking, where is it? Price 57.9 sort of zone. We do have this, but we have these zones directly above us, right in here, that we can see are basically literally directly above us, with the node roughly about 62.1, the next node being about 63.4. And then we've got all this liquidity above us. And this is from the shorts. All these colors up here are from people not just buying spot, selling spot. This is from people going, actual leverage shorting here, stacking up all of these positions of liquidation zones that are directly above us. Put your lab coat and you break down. I go, thank you. Jennifer says, good job. Well, I'm glad. I was practicing all morning. So we're seeing a very interesting sort of zone right now in the market. And when we're looking at the Bitcoin strategy platform, I just want to note before we look at all the TA here that I do think that we're very similar. Although we are at the previous all-time high, I think we're very similar to this level on where we're at in this market cycle, which is roughly about, across the halving, just like we are here. The difference is the price is higher, but we also have a huge amount of capital flow, capital channels that got input, not only all these ETFs, but the speculation into them that drove values up. And then we had the huge buying from institutions as well as retail in those Bitcoin spot ETFs. So it basically has the price higher than we were here. This is where the previous all-time high was, but look at this, quite a bit below. However, this may be analogous to where the price may be going in the future, potentially higher than people expect. We will have to track that. But if we can maintain this band right here, this fair value band, which is currently at about 56,000, just below the 200-day moving average. But I just want you to notice, once we broke up, just like we did here, we pushed up, we rejected at the band directly above us, and then we found support on this until we fully broke away into a very strong parabolic trend to the upside. So we're sitting in a very good position right now, and people were worried yesterday. So much so, if we come back over to my, let's come right here, we can see that yesterday the FOMO index from FOMO basically got as low as 12. Extreme fear. If you're ever wondering when good buy opportunities are, it's sometimes, not all the time, you're going to look at a couple metrics. It sometimes is looking at how fearful in the market and how greedy is the market. In this case, we had extreme fear. These tend to be excellent spots to look at for buying opportunities in the market. We got this. We're still within this beautiful bullish pattern. We still look at this chart right here. This is a 1 week on Binance. Let's go 3 days, 12 hour actually. We have this downtrend that we've been still minding. We came down, washed down into the zone. Actually, I want to look at this chart right here. We have this falling wedge. We had that move to the downside here we are right here. We had this move to the downside that beautifully tapped right into the order block zone. If this is going to load, I don't know what's going on. There we go. This beautiful tap right into this order block zone. So we look at this liquidity zones that we were talking about from this liquidation heat map, but we can also look right on trading view with the BitLab trading stack. We have this order block, high liquidity interest defending the zone. And what happened? The price came back down to test it. Bull shot it back up. And what we're going to want to watch here is this VWAP here. As you can see down here where my mouse is, you can see this liquidity, the VWAP rounding over, faking out to the downside so far. If this starts moving back to the upside, along with this stochastics, along with the RSI, this could be marking this washout bear trap. And if we can overtake this line right here, let's get a little bit more zoomed in. If we can overtake this, we see volume supporting this move, and we break back above this, we likely will get a rejection at the $62,700, $63,000 zone, but that's not the end of the world. What we want to pay attention to is if this does happen, that the rejection here finds a bounce here, flipping this back to support, coming back up, and then taking this move to the upside. Something like this with this very squiggly, looks like I had a stroke line. I don't know why it does that sometimes. If we can look at this on the 1 hour, you can see it clearly. It won't do that as well as bad. Boom, like this. Doing some work to the matter of fact like that, because looking at this, I just noticed this. 1 hour. We got a bit of this sort of head and shoulders. There's a very wonky body. There we go. Shoulder, head, bit of a shoulder. So if this is the case, let's measure this out and see what the target out of this would be. Option T from the neckline here, which is this line of resistance that these levels are minding. And you measure this out and you suggest, look at this. This would essentially suggest basically coming up, not only breaking back into the zone, but breaking back into the zone and basically roughly testing where this other line of resistance will be from this previous falling wedge. But that line will still be a trend line that we need to pay attention to right in the zone. So let's see how this plays out. Very, very high possibility that we do have a reversal in place, but it's going to contend. It's going to be somewhat determined by what happens at this price range right here. If we do get rejected, not just a small rejection, if we get rejected here and fall back below this neckline and come back down, this may be, we start leaning towards a potential rejection and further downside. The last line in the sand for this would be, is if we do get rejected and potentially do a double bottom like this, that could be playing out too. Nobody has all the answers. Don't expect me or anybody out there to be like, this is what's going to happen. If they tell you that, they're lying to you. All we can do is give you the possibilities. And in this case, I do think things are leaning more bullish than bearish. We have a major thing happening in 2 days here in the U.S. that is going to be probably a pretty big factor in what direction, high probability of being a possible launch zone for the markets. If in that discussion between those two major political leaders contending for seats, at the top position in the U.S., I don't like saying all the stuff because YouTube will demonetize the channel. It's kind of ridiculous, but depending on what the talking points are in that discussion could have a huge impact on what direction, if the price action just starts mooning after following Thursday and Friday this week. So let's pay attention to that. But we need to also pay attention to Ethereum. We had that sort of downtrend that we were talking about yesterday. The downtrend that we were talking, God damn it. Downtrend right in here, option T, this zone right in here. And we are right on the precipice of, look at this. We have an order block right here. The red box automatically puts on the chart by the BitLab trading stack, shows you this liquidity interest zone. And similar thing here. Look at this, comes down into this box, pushing up right into the zone, perfectly the intersection of where the order block is and where the downtrend resistance is. If we can clear this, I will want to watch for, basically this zone right in here where all these lows are, potential sort of sell off here to figure out if the bulls are going to defend this zone. And if so, the next zone will be back up here at 3,500. And if we can clear that, so on and so forth, having the stair step to the upside. But what we really want to watch here is not all the crazy charts here that looks like somebody was doing meth before they drew this. But what we're looking at here is this essentially, remember we drew this middle line here on this broadening wedge. If the price action, I don't know why this is doing that. Okay, so this middle line right here, we pushed up, found support on it, essentially leading to a more bullish narrative. Now, similarly, if you dissect this, you can start seeing this with your eyes as you do this more and more. You can see that this pushed up again and now is finding support on the middle range of this pattern as well. So what we're looking at, if the ETH to Bitcoin chart can hold here and push up and take out this zone, this box right here, this 0.55, 0.57 zone, then we may be starting to see a lot of bullishness come into the altcoin market. Things are kind of contentious right now, and I think there's going to be a little bit of hesitation with the altcoin market through July 2nd. There may be, the market as a whole may move up, but I'm talking about the speed at which altcoins in general and Ethereum also move against Bitcoin. Everything might be moving up through the end of this week, into next week, but I think July 2nd and then the following week or two after that are going to be a very big deciding factor about what's happening with Ethereum and the altcoin market. So we can see, though, we're seeing some signs of some bounces. This link, we're looking at the 1 hour. Let's look at the 4 hour. We have this falling, broadening wedge. These tend to break bullish, but there's no determining when that's going to happen. However, in this case, using the BitLab trading stack, we have this massive order block that's here. This is, again, automatically shows up on the chart. Order block here, liquidity interest. Secondary order block here where they defended again with a lot of liquidity interest. Where did price get pushed down to? Boom, bounced on both these. Push back up. Boom, bounced on both of these. But there's something important that we got to see here on the link chart. How many of you out there are holding link? And if you are holding link, when did you get into link? What price point? Are you a long-time holder? Did you get in somewhere about when this broke out of this range? As we can see, zooming out here on the 3-day, we had this massive sideways price action here. It was like 500 and something days, 530 days. Then we get that boom, this large breakout of this zone. And now we're just been holding up here. Everybody's wondering, why isn't this moving? This is a patience coin, everybody. When this moves, and I do think this is tied into real world asset tokenization. It's an oracle that's basically bridging stuff in Web 2 to Web 3. It's a smart contract play. It's working with Swift. It's also partnership with Securitize. There's so many different things going on with Link. This is not something that I would sleep on. It's one of my largest holdings in my altcoin portfolio. So when we're looking at this on the 4 hour chart and we're getting this little bit of a breakdown here into this zone that we've had marked out and the order blocks, and look at this bounce. We're currently testing breaking out of this, potentially having another move to the upside. We also see near breaking out of the zone. Remember, it broke out of this midway point. That's what this line was supposed to be. Found support where? In the order block range. Pushed up, rejected at the next order block, but still holding above the next order. See, this is showing liquidity interest defending the zone. So if we do pull back, I'm watching for a bit of a bounce here and then a potential move back to the upside. We can also see that the money flow, this pink, this is how much money is flowing into the asset or coming out of the asset. And in this case, we had negative money flow, but it's starting to round back up. We also see the stochastics angled up. We also see RSI has been angled up. We also see the momentum expanding to the upside. It's quite a bit of bullishness attempts here. We're really wanting to see this money flow inch back towards the zero line and cross bullish. Okay. Now, I actually forgot to mention something here on Link, and that was these lows. When you see these lows, this low, if you just look at the candle bodies, not ignore the wicks, candle bodies, much lower candle bodies. Same thing though, if you're only looking at the wicks. Wick, lower low as this progresses. Momentum, higher low. Bit of a bullish divergence. What we get? Move to the upside. Now what do we get on here? What I always talk about here on the BitLab trading stack. The moving averages here on BitLab Intelligence. We see the price action, basically perfect reversal symbol to the downside, being held under the moving averages, being held under the weekly VWAP because now it got sucked down because of volume weighted average price, which is what VWAP stands for, gets sucked down as there's a lot of volume traded as this moves down. But then the price pushes above it, finds support, and then boom, moves up. So there's quite a bit of bullishness here, and we're sitting like we saw on Ethereum, like we saw on NEAR as well. We're sitting here kind of on the precipice of that next move to the upside. I'd be watching this zone here, 1442, 1449, this zone here, potential struggle zone. If we get a little bit of a pullback, that's fine. But I think once we clear this, we'll be starting to see some pretty good price action. But you know what has been performing so golly, it's been performing so well. It's been performing so well. That beautiful ONDO, man. ONDO has just been kind of holding in a range as everything else has been really kind of struggling to the downside. Perfect call. Perfect. This was basically showing weakness coming in. Then you got the bearish divergences down. Look, perfect call here, down. Now right here, we established an order block. Pushes up, comes back to that order block. Now we're sitting here on the decision zone. Look at this trend line. Boom, all the way back here to February. We're sitting on the decision line right now, pushing up, W formation. We broke back above the weekly VWAP. We're holding right here at this trend line. If we pull back, I'd be watching for a bounce in this $1.17 zone. This area would be a pretty good laddering in some entries here, maybe leaving some on the side if this does drop further. But this is looking, you know, like strong buying here. These green bars in the momentum wave. This tried to pull back, this VWAP on the BitLab Trim Fuel, but it's starting to round out. This is looking like there is some weakness coming in at the moment because we do see the stochastics rolling over. However, once we have any sort of test to the downside and then move back up, I expect this to break if we do not break this in a few sessions here. I thought I accidentally hit a button with my finger. Injective also making some moves. Looks kind of similar to Injective there. To ONDO. Bit of a W formation. We came right into the box that we discussed. And look where the wicks came to. Boom. Order blocks from back here. Gave you a liquidity interest zone. Came right into it. So this is where I'd be watching if Injective does pull back a bit in this order block zone directly below it. We just formed a new one right here. See this box? Automatically puts on the chart with the BitLab BitLab Trading Stack Suite. By the way, you can, I want to shout out everybody. We still have that incredible deal going on. It will be expiring soon. You can get access to BitLab Academy, the Discord, the member streams, the charts, the signals, the chart requests, all the stuff that we do in there. It's not just me. We got John Dalton, who's a professional trader, Corduroy, Tim posts in there sometimes, DZ posts in there, Josh is in there. We do a member stream with him about once every week, every 2 weeks. But then you also, when you do sign up, you get 15 days free. You can cancel anytime. There's no contract. And you also get access. Once you sign up, the next page on this, you get access to a heavily discounted access to the BitLab trading stack as well, which is all these indicators we use, the BitLab Trend Fuel, the BitLab Intelligence, and then also the BitLab Volume, giving you all this wide suite of professional tools to really see what's going on in this market. Now, similarly, again, that's lab.bitlabacademy.com/deal. Get in there while you can. Because it's 15 days free and then it's 33% off the full pricing for life. So take advantage of it while it's there. I want you guys to make sure that you can take advantage of the good deals before this market really starts popping and we remove that deal. Okay, AVAX, we talked about this last week, came right down into the zone that we highlighted. Boom, flushing right into that zone. This is on the daily. Let's go down to the 4-hour chart. Let's get the... look at this. Bullish divergence coming into this. And now we're seeing weakness for the bears. Break back above the weekly VWAP. Now we're being held where? In the previous order block from right this zone. So it makes sense that we're kind of struggling at these lows, these chop zone. We have an order block right here. So we're having a little bit of weakness. Let's see where, a potential test. Because remember, I always talk about breaking through the weekly VWAP. I want to see some sort of test of the bears to the downside, whether it's to this point of control line, this big teal line, which is where most of the volume has been traded on this view. But somewhere in this range, 2487, 2475, holding above the weekly VWAP. and then potentially that next leg up if we do get that move to the downside. Because we are seeing a little weakness right here in the VWAP. We're seeing the RSI showing a little bit of weakness, so I wouldn't put it past a potential move. However, if we hide all of the indicators and just look at chart patterns, what do we see right here but a descending broadening wedge, and we are sitting right at that resistance level. If we can clear this, potentially test back and then a continuation to the upside. Cardano also had that big sweep to the downside a couple times now, but where to? Right into the order block from this previous range. Sometimes you see it. This happens all the time. You see it and you're like, okay, and it's not a guarantee price is going to come back there, but you see this and then price is moving up and you're like, oh, it's never going to come back there. But once you start establishing a downtrend, you have this flat base right here, broken in, head and shoulders right here, and this starts breaking down. I start keeping my eyes on these order blocks that now start looking more attractive. And this, I mean, it came right into the zone. 38, 30. Look at this. What are the lows? Lows 37.56, 36.53. And now we're sort of chop consolidation. But what do we see? We see a roundingness of these momentum waves where they're getting, a little deeper, now smaller. And we also have the VWAP here on the trim fuel pushing back to the upside. We do see some weakness with the RSI getting a little weak there, meaning that it's starting to round out, but the stochastics are still angled up. So there's a little bit of mixed signals here. I do expect that we'll likely get a little bit of a move down, finding support. And then once we clear this, we're really watching for this to get back up into basically above this 42 cent range. This is going to be a big deal. Probably a little bit of chop in here. Once we can clear that, or Cardano can clear that, we may be starting to see a little bit stronger move to the upside, ultimately finding a lot of resistance back up here at 48. Stacks also making some moves. Similar to what we just saw on, quite a few of the altcoins look the same. However, with this one, let's see. With this one, we have a little bit of a breakout. Let's see, boom. Let's see where that line would be. A little bit of a breakout on stacks. Broadening wedge. We had a bit of a deviation there as well. Let's do it like that. A little bit of a breakout, but same thing. Stochastic, everything's showing signs. We had the impulse. Now the reason you're seeing this weakness, sufficient enough, says AERO stepping back up. We'll look at a aerodrome here in a second. The reason we're seeing weakness or hesitation is because people start getting fearful. You get a bounce and then people start taking, okay, bounce, I'm going to take some profits. Because people don't want to get caught in a trap. And the question is going to be on any sort of weakness here. Do we form a bull flag, which would be the most bullish deal? If we do get a pullback, in this case on stacks, if we get a pullback to roughly $1.67, where this previous range high was, if we get a pullback to here and bounce, that would be ultimately very strong bullishness. Because things don't just go up. They go up, some people take profits, and then as it drops, you see where the bulls come in to defend that area, where the bears lose their strength. Similarly, we can see on Aerodrome, look at these higher lows. Boom. Higher lows right here. This is beautiful. Now, what do we see right here? From this low to this low, much lower lows. However, on these lows right down here, you still have somewhat lower lows, but the amount is less pronounced than this. It's not quite a bullish divergence, but you're seeing a weakening of the momentum that's pronounced here. And in addition to that, boom, stochastics come down. Look at the strength impulse here. Stochastics come down, and the RSI front runs the stochastics. Orange line is stochastics, purple line is RSI. But we have the VWAP moving up into it. See this coming down, VWAP's moving up into it. And the RSI just, boom, strength pops in here. And we get the move up. Where? Previous lows. As we come back down, now we have a higher low. And we want to see this not sort of just come back down and basically lose the low again. We want to see this have some continuation and clear, I would say, this level right here, 81 cents. Why 81 cents? Because then you're clearing this high, and you're basically starting to challenge these lows. But remember, everybody, Aerodrome, everybody's like, oh my God, I missed it. Well, if you ever had that feeling, realize that we are now at a price. Okay, come on, measuring tape. Now we are now at a price at 70% discount. And I believe that this is, and we're basically bouncing on the range of where this chopped right here, also where this wick went to. This to me is an excellent opportunity. Again, this is not financial advice. This is just looking at the strategy of price action here. This would be a great opportunity to pick up something in a very fastly growing ecosystem, which is the base ecosystem on Coinbase. See a bit of a kind of a falling wedge. It's kind of hard to look at it with kind of a falling wedge. It could also be looked at as a falling channel, looking like this. You see, I don't like that one as much, but we're getting a bottoming sort of double bottom here with a higher low. If we can push up into this 81 cent range, 81 up in this zone, the 79 to 81 cent range, boom, and take that out, I do think we may be in store. I think this is a great opportunity zone for Aerodrome. If this does break down a bit further, again, when we're back down in this 65 cent zone, this now double order block zone, I definitely, I'm not saying you, I would be a buyer again. Now we got to look at our baby girl DOT. I've got to do another video on DOT and some price action within that ecosystem later this week, because this is providing immense opportunity for everything going on with what they're developing in their ecosystem. Let's actually go to a different DOT chart. It has a little bit more data. There we go. So looking at this, okay, so we had this opportunity potentially for this to go up there. This is adjusted, so let's adjust our look at what's going on with DOT. So as it stands right now, DOT has been giving us some opportunity. Why opportunity? Because they're building so much in their ecosystem. You know, the hydration, the decks that they have that I did the video on a couple weeks ago. If you haven't watched that, make sure you head over to the BitLab Academy page here. Go to videos, and it's right here, microcap to watch. This is about the Hydration DX, awesome decks where they're using the entire liquidity pool for any asset pair that's on the deck. So there's a huge depth of liquidity. And so, you know, a smaller or newer coin doesn't just have this huge spread of price action movement for somebody buying $100 worth of that token. This is incredible what they're doing. I think it's going to change the game for a lot of the DEXs out there. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing some of those other DEXs do that. But what we're seeing here now on the DOT ecosystem, remember, there's a lot built on DOT. BitTensor, Kusama, which is the test net for DOT. We got hydration. There's so much going on in the DOT ecosystem and what they're doing. And we can see we've got a bit of a falling wedge now here on this. And this is providing opportunity, still holding at this level. Still holding at this level. Boom. Drag this across. Now drag it, boom, over like this. See these rejections. See this bounce. See this bounce. See this rejection. See this rejection. See this bounce. See this bounce. This is a known zone based on price action defending of both bulls and the bears. So now, while this has broken down, this could be setting up for that turning point for a move back to the upside. So let's get a little bit smaller time horizon and look at what's going on in here. We can see price action is taken back over. Look at this, bounced right down to roughly where this larger order block was, formed a new order block in this zone. Why is this important? Because when you see this happen, this means the price fell quickly and there was a ton of orders that came in, and basically large orders in clusters at these price regions that defended this area. This is why it's just as important up here, because there's a lot of orders that came in here, which means we have a little bit of a defensive zone above us, but the price action shot way quickly, sliced back through the VWAP. Look at this, came down, tested on the 20 moving average, pushed up, and right now we are struggling to break past this previous high. If we could take out this high, we'd also likely clear through this zone, which is now the next previous range low. And I do expect at some point we'll have a little bit of a testing down. Just depends if it's now testing basically back down to the 582 range, or if we push up further and test down to like the $6 range. We're going to have to see how this plays out because we're getting some mixed signals here. Strength in the stochastics, but the RSI is starting to roll over. The VWAP starting to roll over. So let's keep our eyes peeled on this. And any dips back down for me, I'm a net buyer on DOT. How many of you out there hold DOT? What was the coin? Oh, I'm not. Yeah, it was a meme coin. I do think a shout out for the super chat earlier. I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, also look at this. I just noticed this. We've got the broadening wedge that is basically flirting with breaking out right now. So if this does get lost, because we're at this resistance region, and this does come down again, I'd be watching somewhere in that 575 to 582 range. And if we do lose that further, depending on where the VWAP is, that's where I'd be watching. But I'm bullish on this market right now, guys. Render, look at this. We got also so many, like basically this sideways. I mean, everything is like these bullish impulses are all at these resistance zones. Filecoin kind of struggling to break out of its range, but above the VWAP. Where is it finding resistance? Right at the order blocks. Fetch, look at this coming across option J. We have a trend line right here, order block right here, another order block right here. Look at the price, pushes up right into the order blocks. It's having a little bit of struggle here, but look, we bounced right on the weekly VWAP. Boom, pushing up, and we're having a little bit of weakness here. If the RSI can find support here and start to roll back over, and this is more of a bull flag, then maybe we get that next impulse up to the upside. But I'm so bullish right now on the market. I'm not worried if on the macro, the midterm, on the shorter term time frame, I'm not worried if we do get another impulse to the downside. I think we're almost done washing out the weakness in the market. Be prepared for this to move very quickly when it does. I do think we're going to have a little bit of suppression for some economic news tomorrow, and then of course the debate that's happening on Thursday, but into next week, I think about the second week of July, I do expect we'll start seeing some very positive price action. Now, everybody, I think that's all we got for today. Do we have anything else that I mixed? I want to make sure I didn't miss any other super chats or anything. I had to close my other window. I think that's what was locking up my screen. But everybody, we got 100 something people watching. Hit the like button. Show some love. I think we're going to be heading over to the DGen Alpha channel now. I don't know. They go live right about when we end, but let's get in there. We can chat. We can share some love. He shares so many great things in here. So we're going to be heading there directly after this. If you just stay on the channel I automatically redirect to either, Taco over there on the DGen Alpha channel, or if he's not on, Tom Crown, we keep you going. Oh, Doc Williams, we got to do your COTI. Thank you for shouting that out. I just shared the link in there also for the DGen Alpha channel we're going to be going to next. So COTI, let's look at COTI. My bad, Doc Williams. Thank you for the Taco. Come show some love. There it is. We have a little bit. We're on the 4 hour, so we got a little bit of a falling wedge there. Let's look at the 3-day. Double click here. COTI. So this is coming down into this range. All this chop right in here. Okay, so this is based on what's happening in the market. This is actually fairly bullish that we had this strong impulse and this sell-off back to the zone. If you like this project, if you like any project, and you still think the fundamentals are strong and you get this strong move and boom, coming down into this chop zone right in here. If we can hold this region, we had a potential reversal here with 3 bullish divergences, had a bit of an impulse up, got held by the trend signal line, came back down into this zone, potentially offering another opportunity. So coming down into the 6-hour chart, we can see this. Boom. Let's turn off the other indicators. Let's look at price action right in the zone. Look at all this chop here, bounce right in here. And look at this. We're coming into this zone, chopping right into here, creating a defensive posture with this order block formed, showing a lot of defending of this level. We're fighting now this order block. If we can clear this, I'm watching for a move up to about 10.6, 10.7. And then the next level we're really watching is up here at 12 cents. But if we do reject here, I'm watching for potentially a bounce, small higher low, somewhere in this 9.1 region, potentially down to 8.8. But I mean, you can see this is trending to the upside. We see this is showing that we may have a little resistance here. Why do I say that? RSI is slowly rounding, but I do think things are stacking up for bullishness in this market. But I love you guys. I appreciate you all. Hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day. We're going to be heading over to the DGen Alpha thing. I want to ask you though, before we do that, everybody, throw a 1 in chat if you're bullish on the next month of crypto, meaning do you feel more likely or not that we are going to be in the back up above 70, maybe not breaking 74? Do you think that we are likely going to go down from here? Let me know what you think. Comment down below as well. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are. What's the sentiment of everybody in the audience? I'm curious what you're feeling. And do you think we're going to be having a pretty strong alt season before the election in November? Do you think it's going to be, things run, but do you think that we are going to be somewhat running slower than Bitcoin between now and there? I'm curious your thoughts. And of course, I have to say before we go, shout out to our channel sponsor, shout out to Galactic, shout out to our show powered by Arculus. Of course, make sure if you are trading, if you are involving yourself in the market, that you do protect your crypto into the future. This is my favorite crypto cold storage solution, Arculus. You can get it, getarculus.com. Use code LAB10, LAB, and then the number 10, LAB10 for 10% off. The link is also down below in the description. It's one tap, multi-factor authentication using biometrics, your PIN code, and the card here, keeping your keys off your phone, helping you protect your capital into the future. So shout out again to our channel sponsor. Appreciate you all. I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day. That's all I got for now. And everybody hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell, and sing it out with me. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for always tuning in. Let's head over to DGen Alpha. Adios.